I'm Marty Basto. I'm the founder of Fables Pro webcomic platform, and this is the True North Country Comic Podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics Podcast, dedicated to celebrate Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Marty Basto about the web-based comic book platform Fables and more. Please like and subscribe to this website by hitting the subscribe button so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Marty Basto is the founder of Fables and comic book creator. Marty was originally a development producer, but having grown tired of not having control over his own creations, he started Fables, the creator-first community for indie creators. Launched in October 2024, Fables is a Canadian-built webcomic platform created by creators for creators. Readers have explored the platform over 4 million times. Fables was founded with the goal of giving creators the tools they need to make their work shine while maintaining as much creative control and freedom as if they were running their own website, but without the technical burden that often comes with it. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Marty Basto about the web-based comic book platform Fables and more. So, Marty Basto, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be.
Well, I appreciate your time, absolutely. Before I get going with all the questions, I would like to know, what was the first comic book that you read?
My guilty pleasure when I was a kid was sneaking into the library to take out the Smurfs comics.
Ah, that's good stuff. Good inspiration there for sure. Wondering who or what inspires you to create today?
There's a whole bunch of different aspiration, but I think the mostly it's, as a creator, it's that internal need to always want to tell a story. Anybody who has that creative bug has it within them. And sure, they take inspiration from other major artists like Jim Davis and even some of the most popular webcomics around, the creators of Least I Could Do, Questionable Content, Cyanide and Happiness. But I think at the end of the day, that earning needs to come from within.
Cool. Now, I was reading on the website that you were a development producer. How did you go from that to something that we're talking about today?
Well, my contract was that I never existed. My job was to create and pitch series to the network, and anything that I would create would be associated to the show. So sometimes I would also be getting some Bibles from different creators for series that the network was interested in pursuing. And then my job was to enhance it and fix little things here and there. And one thing that I definitely didn't like was the fact that I was in the shadow, so my name was never to be associated anywhere.
And I understand you want to be a little more creative, have a little more control. That's what led you to the web-based comic book platform called Fables. What if you could talk a little bit about that platform? What is it all about?
Sure. Well, Fables started off with a culmination of 20 years of working in the industry. After leaving the job of being a development producer, I wanted to create, I wanted to maintain my own copyrights, I wanted to be the master of my own creation. So I started publishing webcomics. And back then, in the early 2000s, the only way to do that was through creating your own website. And to do that, you needed to wear so many different hats. You needed a technical background. And it was so much hassle just because at the end of the day, people don't know that your website exists. So when the industry changed with the coming of the new platforms such as Webtoon and Tapas, which were the biggest ones, they were not the first, but the biggest that really made an international impact. They catered to the indie creators like there was no tomorrow. They pushed the spotlight on all of us, and we reached hundreds of thousands of fans. Our series were being featured all the time, and then all of a sudden, when their platform got a certain amount of traffic on the site, their business tactics changed, and they began to push a lot of their own in-house comics. And the indie creators that built that platform, built the entire foundation for it, were ignored. And for people and creators that had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views on every episode that they created. We struggled to get tens to hundreds. So the idea of Fables grew from that frustration. So we wanted to build a platform that would do it right, that would respect the creative process, that would respect the creators behind every stories that is being published, and to help encourage more artists to pursue that venture, even if it's just as a hobby.
Can you categorize the types of web comic stories that are published on Fables?
Oh, we have a whole variety from slice of life comics where people just depict whatever comes to mind, to full-fledged fantasy stories, horror, you name it. I guess you can go to any libraries and see the type of genres that they have, and we have them on Fables.
I was looking at your website and noticed that I didn't really see anything about AI use. And I'm wondering if you could explain, what's the stance AI use on Fables?
So when it comes to AI, when we first launched Fables, Fables is not just my creation and the team behind it. Fables is a creator-based platform. So it's built by creators for creators. And so when the issue of AI first came about, before we even launched, we asked our followers what position they wanted to take on the case of AI. And so that way we would base our decision based on what the community needed and what they wanted. And it was overwhelmingly clear that AI had to be banned. And that supported my own opinion on the matter. AI is not in a position to be able to create. It takes their information for their output from somewhere else, and oftentimes without consent, and that is strictly against what we're trying to accomplish. We want to take the human creators who struggled day and night to build their stories, the creators that think about their stories the first time that they wake up in the morning and it's the last thing they think of at night. Those are the people that we want to support. And I know that some people without the artistic talent that want to do that still have those same feelings, but these artists that are on our platform, they put in the work. They put in the time and effort to learn and master their craft. So those are the people that we want to support. So the use of AI is strictly prohibited.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that similar theme from other content creators in the past and in different conversations. So it's good that you have that policy in place. I was also under the impression that this is a Canadian-built webcomic platform. Can you explain what makes it Canadian?
Well, myself, I'm Canadian. The entire team, the technical team that built Fables is based out of Canada as well. So pretty much the entire management of Fables is Canadian. We do have a lot of Canadian artists as well on the platform, but it's not specifically just designed to be Canadian. Fables has an international reach. At the end of the day, the dreamers are without borders, and it is our job to encourage them to proceed and make their dreams come true, regardless of where they live.
That's a great mandate to have, that's for sure. You mentioned you do have a few Canadian creators. Can you call out just some of them, just so we know who you're talking about?
Yes, well, there's myself, and just to name just a couple, there's Alison Acton, the creator of BearNut, and there's Pirumi, who is also a Canadian artist, who actually won the very first Fables Fan Choice Award last October.
Great. Now, I should have asked this at the very beginning, but how can someone sign up to be a creator on Fables?
Very, very, very easily. All they have to do is go to fables.pro and then just make an account. Then you can upload from there. It's very seamless. And what we have that is very unique, especially for creators with big archives, is we have a mass uploader that allows you to upload thousands of episodes in a matter of just a couple of minutes.
Okay. Who owns the content? I guess that's always been a question when it comes to these platforms. Who owns the content that's published on Fables?
All of the content that is being published on Fables is 100% owned by the creators themselves. Fables is only the means of how that content is being published.
Now, I know that in this day and age, you talked about work in quotation marks that is being published. Is there a monetization component to Fables?
Every creator on Fables is automatically enrolled into the monetization program. We do pay for every views that the creator receives. So right now, our payout rate is very decent, some of the highest that compared to other platforms, and even higher than some of the platforms where you have to be an exclusive creator.
That's good to know. That's for sure. I got to ask then promotion. I mean, it's one thing to have a platform up there. I mean, most people know when you put up a website, it's great, but until people come to it, it's very difficult to get eyeballs on it. What sort of methods do you have for promoting your platform to others so they can not only read it, but get involved with it?
So right now, the biggest approach that we're taking is that we're building the level of content that we have on the platform. So we are a very first hands-on approach by contacting creators and informing them about Fables, how they can join, what benefits that they have compared to other platforms, and just trying to get them to join the platform and publish their content. There is an old saying sometimes, when you build it, people will come, but obviously that's a little bit of a far cry. So we do put in a lot of efforts. We do a lot of social media outreach. We are in contact with some conventions. But at the end of the day, it's just as long as we keep promoting the content that is being published on site, it's reaching people.
Okay.
And eventually, people are going to see a series that pique their interest. And that's usually when they come to the site and then they stay for quite a long time.
Now, is there a crossover? I know this is web-based, but do any of the creators actually take their content and move it into a print medium of any sort?
So that does happen quite often, and this is something that Fables does very well. We work hand in hand with all of our creators. So every creator that joins Fables have access to my own personal email. So I'm able to discuss what their goals are with their series, what they want to accomplish. And through our own contacts, we try to make that happen for them. We have a lot of contacts with different publishing companies, even distributors. So anybody who do decide to go the print route, we are able to assist them with that. And that does happen quite often.
Yeah, that's handy to have. You mentioned when we were talking about Fables at the outset that you have your own projects on the go. Wonder if you could talk a few of those that you have on Fables.
My biggest series right now is called Prisonborn. It's an LGBT heavy comic. It's a series that first started off by making fun of the gay stereotypes, the stories and the characters to demonstrate that we are all way more than what mere stereotypes have us be.
And I guess the beauty of having a web comic is there isn't a particular endpoint. Like typically we would talk about a comic book, it has a set number of pages and it has a storyline, whereas web comics, I guess, can continue various volumes, all that sort of stuff, right? It's never ending.
It depends on the creator themselves. For example, I'm the type of creator that if I put in an effort in a project, I have a plan on what I want to do with it, who I want to reach, what's the markability aspect of the project, how am I going to be able to publish it, get some money out of it so that I can get my cost reduced or even make a little bit of a profit. But some others, they just want to tell the story, so they keep going and pretty much until their imagination well dries up. And that's the beauty of webcomics is there's no right answer. You can be as professional as you want and pretty much reach international stardom as some have demonstrated that they were able to do, or to just want to tell the story that is in your heart. There's everything in between.
That's great. I know we've been talking about Fables quite a bit. Where can people find out more about Fables and get involved and actually read it?
People are able to reach Fables by going to fables with an S.pro.
Is there any social media component? Are you on any social media platforms as well?
Yeah, we are on Facebook under Fables Pro, and we are under Instagram under Fables.pro, and Blue Sky Fables Pro as well.
Great. Well, Marty, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you want to get across in this interview?
So one thing that makes Fables a little bit different, because people ask us all the time, what makes Fables different? Why should I go to Fables instead of going to, let's say, Webtoon or Tapas or any other platform? And the answer that I always provide them is the fact that Fables was created by people who understand your need as a creator. So our goal with Fables is that we keep updating and adding to the platform to make sure that we offer the same creative freedoms to our creators as if they had their own website. So we actually created an entire cast section for every series so that they can put information about character bios. So when you read a comic strip, if you forget who that character is, there's a link there that you can click. There's a pop-up that appears with that character's bio so you don't need to lose your spot. And all of the buttons pretty much on the episodes page and the series page, they're all customizable. We want to give the creators the freedom to make sure that their brand is respected, so that way they get to immerse their readers into their world. And at the end of the day, the readers do appreciate that, as it's become way more immersive than just the same old read the comic, leave a comment. This way they get to experience what the series have to offer to the full extent.
Thanks to Marty for the chat. You can discover more about Fables online at fables.pro and on Instagram at fables.pro. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to more conversations with creators about making comic books and graphic novels. I also encourage you to subscribe via the website so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow along True North Country Comics on most social media platforms, and you're encouraged to send any and all feedback to John at truenorthcountrycomics.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2026.